So in order to punish something that is -7, like this katana string, -7 on block, you would need a 6-frame move. Shang Tsung does not have a 6-frame move, most of the cast does not. Characters like Sub-Zero, Aaron Black, Geras, they have 6-frame down ones. So even if they were to punish, they're only getting a poke. So unfortunately, because the string is -7, it's considered safe because you cannot be punished for it. Whereas if I do something that's unsafe, if you want to block really quick, if I do Katana's square wave, that is -22 on block. So what that means is that you, in theory, have 22 frames to punish something. Now, if you do any move that has a faster startup than 22 frames, it would, in theory, punish it. So, if you did something like Shang's 114, that, in theory, would punish it. But the problem with that is the spacing issue, right? So if you block really quick, just because a move is, 8 frames or whatever, so if you do 114, yeah, I want you to try to punish with that, okay? It whiffs because of the spacing. Now, Katana can still be punished in this sense by other moves. Like Shang Tsung has a really good option. His forward 2 reaches really far. So if you do forward 2, 4, 3, we'll do the crushing blow for the example. Do forward 2, 4, 3. Yeah. So if you try to punish my my square wave with that, you're gonna get a crushing blow because the startup on forward 2 is quicker than 22 frames, right? Because do a forward 2 for me. So it's 17 frame startup. So you are punishing me before I can block. Because it takes me 22 frames to block after doing this attack. Right? So if you do forward 2 after blocking that, you'll be able to punish me with a full crushing blow. Do forward 2, forward 3 to punish me for doing square wave, okay? I'm gonna do it right now. You see how it said punish over on the right hand side? I could not block. That was guaranteed damage for me making a mistake like that. She has plenty of unsafe moves as well, like if, I'm sure you've seen Katana throw fans at point blank after like a string, right? Like that's -15. Now if you tried to do forward 2 there, right after my fan, I can block. That was a little bit late. But I can block in time. Because that move is 17 startup, I recover in 15 frames. So you would need something quicker to punish -15 block advantage. For example, your 114, because your stand 1 starts up in 8 frames. So I'm going to end with a fan, and I want you to do your 114 string punishment. Just a little bit late on the time. It's okay. A little bit late on the time. There we go. See how it said punish? So over there, on the right hand side, on your side of the screen, whenever you successfully punish something, it will let you know when you do. And that causes a lot of crushing blow conditions, like I showed for Shang Tsung's forward 2 string, and that's a full combo for 114. 114 into ground eruption and get all your damage there. And I think that's essential why understanding frame data is very important to getting a lot better at this game. The main ones that you need to worry about, in my opinion, are your startup frames, your block advantage, and your hit advantage. In my opinion, those are the 3 things you should focus on. Active frames, recovery frames, and cancel advantage matter, but I don't think that they are necessary for learning the frame data of the game, because this game doesn't particularly have a lot of moves that linger with active frames. The recovery is obviously important. That's how fast you recover from the move. And cancel advantage is more so how many frames you have to cancel into special attacks and whatnot after. But for the most part, startup is most important. That is how fast your move comes out. The fastest moves in the game, like I showed, are 6 frames with Gearus and Aaron Black. They have that unique down 1. But most characters' fastest move is 7 frames with either their jab or their down 1. Shang Tsung, his down 1 is 7 frame startup. So that's technically your fastest move. If you want to do your down 1. Yeah. So 7 frames. Your down 1 is a lot faster than mine. So where that could come in handy is if you're both sitting here and we theoretically poked at the exact same time, yours would come out faster than mine because my poke is 9 frames. So here, stand up really quick. Does Katana have anything that is mine? Can you block, please? Does she have anything? Okay, so this is +1 on block. So we looked at startup, now we're looking at block advantage. This by Katana is +1 on block. That means that she can move 1 frame before you can. So if block advantage is positive for a character, that means they have that many frames to move before you can move. Now +1, being at an advantage, you may think, oh, you know, I don't really have an option, right? She can move before me. This is why knowing frame data is important, because if you've studied your matchups and you know Katana's down 1, you know, her down 3 is really stubby. See how stubby that is? That does not reach far. Right? So they're not going to use that too often. Only in specific situations. But her down 1's going to be her main go-to poke. If you know that, and you know it's 9 frame startup, and your move is 7 frame startup, you know that you'd be able to beat her in this situation. Because if she's +1 on block, she can only move 1 frame faster than you, and her move is 9 frames, you could technically think of that as the move coming out in 8 frames. Because it would come out 1 frame faster. She can do it 1 frame faster than you're able to move. So we take that total block advantage, so +1, and we subtract it from the startup, 9. So we're looking at an 8 frame attack basically. Now knowing that that would come out in 8 frames, you have a 7 frame attack to interrupt. You're down 1. So we're going to demonstrate that even though she is +1 on block, if she does a slower move, you're going to be able to interrupt me. So I'm going to do this attack and then immediately poke afterwards. I want you to down 1 me after I do this, okay? And interrupt my poke successfully. Are you ready? Okay. Okay, we traded. See, that's a good sign already. We traded. You were just 1 frame behind. You should beat me by a single frame. And this is why frame data matters. Even down to a singular frame, we have the smallest margin of error here. I'm gonna do it again. See, you beat me that time. So even though 1/60th of a second, there was a 1/60th of a second difference right there. You had 1 frame to poke me out of that successfully. You did. That's why knowing frame data is super important. The smallest margin of difference can change the whole game. Because if we were in a match situation and the Katana did stagger that for some reason and tried to down 1, and you down 1'd her back and you took your turn, you know, you might throw her back in the corner, then hit her with a combo, fatal blow, and end the match right there. That could literally be the deciding factor on the poke. So that just kind of goes hand in hand how startup frames and block advantage works. You know, we went over negative block. When it shows a negative number in block advantage, they're at a disadvantage. And when it's positive, they're at an advantage. And that's why knowing your options is super important. Because, like, you know, if I did this and then down 3, this is a bad example because it has too much pushback, but if you did a slower move per se. So like, what's Shang Tsung's down 4? So that's 9 frame startup. Okay, that's perfect because Katana's down 1 is 9 frame startup. So if I'm +1, I should beat your down 4 every time because we have the same startup move. They both start up the exact same frame, 9 frames, 9/60ths of a second, right? But if I am at advantage by 1 frame, my block advantage is up 1. If I do a down 1 and you do a down 4, I'm gonna win 100% of the time because I have more advantage. So if you want to mash down 4 after this, and we can show. Oh, mistimed
it. Yeah, he beat me like I was like standing in fucking. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Katana's gonna win that theoretically every time if you time it correctly. Like I said, that's just where the margin of error with frame data is so slim. Knowing the frame data is crucial to playing at a high level. Because then you start looking at situations differently. Like, okay, I'm pressing every time a character does, you know, blah blah blah. Like if you do Shang's forward 2-4-2, that's one of his best strings because it is +4 on block. That means you can move 4 frames faster than Katana, which gives you free range to do a lot. You can pressure her, you can, you know, throw out ground eruption. You can basically enforce your game plan because you can move 4 frames before her. It's especially scary in the corner when he has options like, let me switch to Shang really quick. If I'm Shang Tsung, right, and you're Katana, remember how your down 1 reaches really far? So Katana's 9 frame down 1. So that's 9 frames, and my down 4 is 9 frames. Here's why this can be scary in the corner. I'm gonna do this string, and I want you to down 1. After I do forward 2-4-2. Sorry. I'm going to win that every single time because I can move 4 frames faster than Katana. We saw the block advantage is +4. I can move 4 frames faster than Katana. We're using the exact same startup move after. We're both using a 9 frame move after. But because I am at advantage on block, I can move before her. And that just puts in a whole new mind game. Because then, you know, can we recreate that situation? Crouch block, down 1 me after. Crouch block, it's low. So, if that situation happened in a match, Shang Tsung gets to pressure the opponent, because then that down 4 hits, he can walk in and go for a combo, he could do block strings and keep the pressure up, he could dash and throw. It creates an entire mind game off of just knowing that simple, you know, that simple poke coming from Shang Tsung can change the direction of it. She's got her knocked down in the corner now, and now she's going to block after that string, right? So if you crouch block again. Now, you know, she's scared to poke after this, right? So that opens up a lot of Shang's options, because then he can walk back and, you know, kind of shimmy or bait something. He could just walk up, throw for all kinds of situation. So I think that's super important to knowing frame data, because then you can learn from examples like that. Now, the last piece of frame data that I mentioned was important is the ability to know your hit advantage. So, hit advantage plays a big key in things. This has the startup and block advantage. You know, startup, how fast the move is. Block advantage, whether you're minus or plus on block. Hit advantage is how plus you are on a hit. So, if we look at something, if I hit Shang Tsung with a down 1, I am plus 12, that is my hit advantage. What that means is I can move 12 frames before my opponent. A good way to visually demonstrate this is if we both hold up after I hit him. I'm going to be moving 12 frames faster than him. So I'll jump way earlier. as you see, Katana jumps way earlier than Shang right there because I'm moving 12 frames faster. It's even more when you look at something with more hit advantage, like her down 4, right? It's plus 20. So if we both jump, I'm jumping way earlier than him. Yeah, so that's why if you're ever in like a match, if you've ever played in a ranked match or online and stuff, and you're sitting there, I'm going to down one you, and I want you to just try to mash any buttons together. I want you to be mashing your down one back or something, okay? If you look, I am stopping him from pressing anything. So he is trying to mash buttons, and he can't even, the counter's not even popping up. Or the counter's not even popping up because he literally can't press a button. Because I am doing a 9-frame move while I am plus 12. So technically, that move is coming out before, like, he can even move. Like, before he could even jump or anything. A great example of this is if he does try to hold jump. So I'm going to down one you and I want you to jump, right? See how, okay, so here, see how if I just hold up after I down one you. So if you notice, if I mistime it, he could jump. Like, he can even like jump out of it a little bit and still get hit going up in the air if I mistime it, like that. He's gonna just keep holding up. Just hold the up button. Just keep endlessly jumping. Right? If I down one him and I knock him down, I can just keep him here. He is still holding up, but it's jailing him because my move comes out in 9 frames and I'm locking him down for 12 frames. So, how does this play into gameplay? Well, every time you land a successful poke, it should be your turn, if you think of it like chess. So if I down one you, I can move 12 frames before you can. So, the thing you'll see Katana players do is do a down one into back one. Because back one is a big part of her game plan, right? She can do back 1-4, like the full combo, whatever it may be. And the string will get on block too. Block really quick? It's a safe string, it's -5. Or -4 actually, I thought it was 5. Maybe the pushback matters. But it's -4, no move in the game is 4 frames, so she's not getting punished. It's considered safe on block. It ends her turn on block technically, but, you know, it's still a really good string. So that's why you see Katana players go for this a lot, because they can go into a combo if it hits, and if it doesn't, they can stay safe. So, if you want to try to mash buttons for me, I'm going to down one you, and I want you to mash down one back. So, yeah, just like that, right? So, I'm going to down one him, and he's going to mash down one, and watch what happens. You're going to see the counter on the left side by Katana. So the counter didn't even show up because his move didn't register as coming out even. So he was mashing down one, but it just didn't work. Like, even if I wait a significant amount of time, I'll still stuff the move. So you saw counter there. That is what we call a frame trap. And every character in the game has these. Right? It is essential that you practice these to make sure you're locking down your opponent. Because when it's your turn, you want to take advantage of it. So if you poke someone and they're just mashing endlessly, like you're poking someone, can you keep down wanting for me after I poke you? Yeah, so if you poke someone and they're getting out of it like that, you're not taking your turn back properly, right? Like, I'm sure it even happens to me online sometimes. I don't think someone's gonna mash, but they do. You know, everything like that. So if you're getting poked out like that, you need to go into practice mode and see what your character can do against it. Since I am actually teaching Kombat right now, this is one of my Metafy sessions. He's one of my students right now learning Shang Tsung to play competitive. I'm going to go over just a quick option with him. So, Shang Tsung's down 1, pretty good. It's plus 12, just like Katana's. His down 3 is also plus 12. Both very good moves. We'll use down 3 as an example. So, what are my options here? 12 frames, plus being plus 12 on hit. If you think of any attacks that he'd mainly do, so like a jab, his stand 1, that's going to jail. She can try to press buttons, but if you time it properly, this is going to connect and she won't be able to do anything. So, a good way to practice your frame traps on your jabs, which you can do with every character, I highly recommend practicing this, is set the AI to just crouch. Not crouch block, just to crouch. I'm going to have Cosmic do this for me, so stop blocking. I'm going to down 3 and then I'm going to try to jab. Now if you notice I'm too slow, the AI can duck. And I know it's supposed to jail because the startup is only 9 frames, but I'm plus 12. So it's clearly a timing issue, right? She can duck under it. Now, if I'm tight with my execution and I poke her with down 3, I can jail my jab. You're going to notice that it doesn't combo after the poke, but it stops her from crouching. This works with every character. Katana, it's, same thing. And Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, everybody. Jailing your pokes is crucial because you can get a full combo from people mashing buttons. So you know it jails when it connects, when the jab connects. As you see, if I'm slow, it doesn't connect. If I'm fast, it connects. So set the AI to crouch and practice your timing on jailing that your jab stream. Now this is important because off of a simple poke, if they're pressing buttons, Shang Tsung gets a full combo, right? He gets a full combo off it. I didn't want to soul steal there. So what that tells the opponent is, hey, you shouldn't press buttons there, right? Like if you try to down 1 me back after that or press literally anything, right? Okay. Boom, he pressed, that's a full combo. Right? So now I poke you and you block, you're scared, right? That opens up the door for a lot. Every character is different, but if I poke you and you block, which most high-level players will, realizing it's not their turn anymore, that opens you up for throws. That opens you up for mix-ups, those overheads. Those kind of mix-ups, getting hit by overheads, all kinds of stuff. And it opens you up to stagger pressure at different strengths. So like, if I know you're gonna block, like I down 3 you and you're blocking this every time, I'm gonna take advantage of that. I'm gonna poke you, and when I notice it hits, I'm gonna do 1-1-2. Now I'm plus, and guess what? I get to zone more. It's my turn. Every character has that universal thing about them. Their pokes on hit jail into jabs because of the hit advantage and the startup of the jabs. So that should open up a whole level of thinking for you to stop the players in ranked. If you're fighting people in ranked and you're losing to mashing, getting this down will literally change your life. You're going to see the game a whole different way. And that just basically sums up everything on frame data. We went over the startup, block advantage, and hit advantage. Those are the most important components to understanding this game at a high level. We went over punishing, we went over being plus on block. We just went over what we call a frame trap right there, the hit advantage. And, all of those things are super crucial to getting better. Learn your character's frame data, learn how to punish. It will make a world of difference.